Good morning, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. It's a new week. We're back. We are live on today, Monday, the 12th of May. The year's going fast. And we are back with at the start of a new spoiler season. We have some new hotness. We have a new set coming out soon. Today, we're looking at Final Fantasy. So there was a big release event over the weekend. Or not release event. Basically, it was MagicCon somewhere in America. Oh no, it was PAX. That was it. It was PAX. Basically, they spoiled a bunch of new and cool cards. So we're going to start looking at them now. Yeah, Final Fantasy comes out, I think, in about a month's time. Pre-release is about 3 or 4 weeks. Hope everyone is hyped. Let's jump into it. So everyone's Scryfall. We'll go through. There's a lot of cards. We have about an hour, so we might skip some of the less interesting ones, but we will try and cover as much as we can. There's some new mechanics, there's some new cycles. And I'm going to be honest with you, we're starting off with a banger with this common. I'm actually quite excited for this card. I think this card's great. We have Town Greeter. We'll get into the Sepharoths and all that stuff, but this card is a great one to start with. Town Greeter, 1 and a green. Creature Human Citizen, 1/1. When it enters, mill 4 cards. You may put a land card from among them into your hand and put... If you put a town card into your hand this way, you gain 2 life. So this is effectively a Satyr Wayfinder that's a human. Is it identical to Satyr Wayfinder? Satyr Wayfinder is also land, isn't it? Yeah, Satyr Wayfinder, but it's a human. That will be relevant. In Commander, just a second copy of Satyr Wayfinder is great. In Cube, a second copy of Satyr Wayfinder is great. And oddly there, it being a human might be more relevant. Like, humans can be more of a sub-theme in Cube. And just having this utility creature also be a human might be a nice change or might be a nice upgrade. Assuming there might be some stuff for Pauper for this. We're mainly going to be focusing on Commander and Cube, because those are the formats I know most about and play regularly. Starting Town. Nice little land. Enters tapped unless it's your first, second, or third turn of the game. So I think this is one of the first times in... There might be 1 or 2 other ones that do this, but effectively this will track... This is one of the first times... Or there aren't many cards that track what term of the game it is. Should be nice and straightforward, because you can generally do it by how many lands you have, but... probably one made for Arena, basically. But it taps to add a colourless, or you pay 1 life to add 1 mana of any colour. So this is like... I'm going to say the 4th best City of Brass. You have... I guess the fact it can tap for a colourless means that you're not... That means that you can lose it. You can use it later in the game when you're low on life. But what we have... City of Brass already. We have... I'm not running the other one in my keyboard, that's annoying. Basically, there are 2 or 3 of these already. There's Mana Confluence, which is the other one. And then there is one that always comes into play tapped, I think. It's one from a Commander set. No, it's from Onslaught block, actually. Starting Down is fine. Not an exciting one to open, but goes in any 5-color deck, potentially. It's pretty nice. And the added colourless might have... relevance if you are doing colourless matter stuff. Alright, we'll come back to this one, because this is oddly a Meld card. Let's look at our first summon of the day. If you didn't see them before, summons are sagas that are also enchantment creatures. So, this one here, Summon Leviathan, is a 6-mana enchantment creature, Saga Leviathan, that is a 6/6. But effectively, it still works like a saga. So as it comes in, you get effectively, this is an ETB effect. Return each creature, so level 1, return each... So it comes in, and then the saga will trigger. Return each creature that isn't a Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, Octopus, or Serpent to its owner's hand, so you're kind of doing a nice bounce to everything else. Then on chapters 2 and 3, until end of turn, whenever Kraken, Leviathan, Merfolk, or Octopus, or Serpent attacks, you draw a card. Now with these, so... These are actually quite defensive from the general conversations I've seen on this. So this is a 6-mana Ward... 6-mana 6/6 Ward 2... that has this ETB and then these effects. But because it's a saga, you still sack it after the 3rd chapter goes off. So realistically, with this card, if you can't give it haste, you get one attack with it. This is such a new thing, basically, that it's going to be hard to work out if these are good or not. My gut is... no. I don't know. Defensive, like, the reason why I say defensively these are quite good is because effectively this isn't a 6-mana 6/6. This is a 6-mana bounce all creatures spell that happens to have a 6/6 attached to it. The point of this card isn't I'm going to play a 6-mana 6/6 and win the game with it. It's I'm playing this effect and I happen to get one swing on a creature. That's kind of the way to think about them. Don't think of them as 6-mana as like creatures. Think of them as like sagas with upside. I think it's probably the way to think about these. And sagas are very good. Like, you do get 3 cards worth of value from 1 card. And if the mana value and the effects are good, then you're going to be then it's going to be a decent magic card. But the additional of being able to attack and block with it could be quite nice. Obviously, these do now die to removal, so I think you are going to be focusing more on the first chapter because it's the one you're guaranteed to get. Think of the first chapter like an ETB. 2 and 3, if it's really powerful, cool. It's good that it's really powerful, but your opponent will have a chance to interact with it. We have another new type of card now. In Jador Aristocratic Capital, this is a land town. So land town is a new type that we're seeing in this set. It's just going to be a subtype for these. These are fine. There'll be cards that care about towns in the same way that there's cards that care about gates, that kind of stuff. This land enters tapped, and it taps to add a blue. So there is a cycle of these. Why this is interesting is it has Overture, which is a 6-mana sorcery, adventure. Target opponent mills half their library rounded down. So why this is kind of hot and new is that you're going to put lands in your deck anyway. This is a spell. So effectively this is kind of like the... This is like the double dip thing you don't get from MDFCs. Like, with like... the MDCs that are like creatures on one end and lands on the back, you have to pay to flip them. Or you get to pick the one when you play it. With this, you can cast the adventure first. You can cast the 6-mana adventure. It then goes into exile, and then you can play it like you can play it straight away as your land per turn. That's quite nice. With this one, like with any flip cards, they have the nice feature of being able to play. You can play the land if you need a land on turns 1 or 2. Later in the game, this is what you're getting for the effect. It's a perfect split card, and the fact it's on a land is quite nice because we've not really seen this level of flexibility on a land. The main thing with these is that we're going to solve this a bit differently with Omens in the last set. Is that because these are adventures, neither side, like, you're getting 2 cards of value on 1 card. They will be quite careful with these. It's unlikely we're going to get, like we're already getting a land that enters tapped. That is already the drawback on the land side. They will be fine, like, both sides aren't going to be, like, this effect, the target opponent mills half their library. We have that effect. It's going to be on, I'm guessing, I can't remember what card it's on, but it's going to be on a card that's less than 6 mana. Basically, you pay more for it to be on 2 halves. Half their library. Like this effect will already exist, but the point of this is that it's 1 card in your deck. No, it is 6 mana. Okay, yeah. So if you wanted this effect, if you wanted just this effect, you can run Traumatize for 5 mana. It's 1 less mana, but the flexibility of it being on a land, that is where this card is great. So I would expect these cards to see a lot of play. Basically, if it's on a land, like we saw it with the other MDFCs, where basically, I know those cards are flip cards, but effectively, they just let you run more spells because they can also be played as lands. So this is going to be a very exciting cycle to look at. We have our basic lands. These all look very vibey. Nice to see Wastes back. Wastes being in the limited environment probably might mean that colorless matters in this set, which I really like. We've not had much colorless matter stuff since, like, outside of a few commander decks. We haven't really seen it since it debuted in. It's not Rise of the Old Dragon. Since Oath of the Gatewatch. There hasn't really been too many bits since then. But I really liked it. I thought it was very cool. So good to see it. Like if it is back as a mechanic in this set, then I am very excited for that. Need to get the coffee on this morning. All right, let's look at some creatures because by God, they spoiled a lot of legends. We'll kind of go through and cherry pick ones that we think are cool, but this one's a mythic, so it's got to be good. Yuna, Hope of Spira, 3 green and a white for a legendary creature, human cleric. It is a 3/5. During your turn, Yuna and enchantment creatures you control have trample, lifelink, and ward 2. At the beginning of your end step, return up to 1 target enchantment card from your graveyard to the battlefield with a finality counter on it. So this is cool. This is kind of, we're leaning into the summons with this, I'm guessing. There's a fly. 1 second. Bugger off. Bugger off, fly. Go away. You're distracting me. I need to talk about Final Fantasy. So Yuna, yes, it can bring back other enchantments. It could do some cool stuff with auras and that kind of stuff. Like, but realistically, this is going to be built around, or this is built to play around with summon cards, because as we mentioned, these go to the graveyard. So effectively, this lets you double dip. Maybe you could do there are some very big summons. There is like a 9 mana one, which we'll get onto a little bit later. But why this is vibey is yeah, this lets you double dip. So if you cast your summon spell, you go through all the chapters, it dies, you can then bring it back to play. That's pretty good. Like being able to we haven't really done or seen like a full enchantment reanimator list in a while. Like not for Commander anyway. Like there is like Second Sunrise and some of the things like that lets you put stuff that's been from play into play. But this will let you can mill enchantments with this and then cheat them big into play. Like what is the? Yeah, yes, we have summons, but let's just look up. What are some big enchantments? So unfortunately, because we don't have the color, so we can't do omniscience. Let's just look at what are the biggest enchantments we could cheat into play. They might actually be from this set, actually, now I think about it. So if you're building Yuna, this is what you're going to be doing. Sort by mana value, descend. So you got some of this cool stuff? Yeah, so summon Bahamut, we'll get onto in a little bit. But like, there are some very big enchantments that you can do some curses. Yeah, basically, mill stuff, bring these big things into play. Oh, Mythic Proportions. Ooh, that's a proper magic card. Marvellous. Alright. Yuna looks cool. Yeah, will be a fun one for Commander. Alright, let's keep going. Vivi Ornita. This is one some friends were talking about. Vivi Ornitier. Okay, maybe we said that right. Who knows? This is a 1 blue and a red for 03. Legendary creature, wizard. It has 0 mana. Add X mana in any combination of blue and or red, where X is Vivi Ornita's power. Activate only once each turn and activate only during your turn and only once each turn. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, put a +1 counter on Vivi Ornita and it deals 1 damage to each opponent. This is very cool. So, effectively, this is a mana rock. This could be very powerful. Like, this is kind of. So the gimmick with this is you are playing a bunch of cheap cantrips. This is very in the vein of this card just rewards you for playing Magic. Like this part here, whenever you cast a non-creature spell, if you're playing this in Commander, or if you're including it in a cube deck, you are running a bunch of cheap spells with it. So like things like cantrips, things like lightning bolt, that kind of stuff. This will just get bigger, and it will be rewarding you for just playing the game of Magic, furthering your game plan. And then I don't even have to tap it. It will just get bigger, and then you can cast your bigger spell. So this could be a nice. Is this good enough for cube? Maybe not in the most powerful ones, but I kind of like it in the. Effectively, in my cube anyway, I have a big. We have things like brainstorms and mystical tutors and stuff. That's me. So excuse me. We have our cheap spells, we have like our removal, as we mentioned earlier. But we also have a big Dream Halls deck that cheats big spells into play. Things with, like, by casting Mizzix's Mastery. What could be fun is that effectively Vivi Ornithia could be a card that kind of bridges that gap. It effectively it can go in like the Is It Spells deck, because it will just reward you by being effectively like a prowess creature that permanently gets its buff. That's quite nice, because this is only once a turn, but this part isn't. If we cast Opt into Lightning Bolt, this gets 2 counters. That's pretty good. But then the next turn, we activate this, and then it can help us cast, like, an Ultimatum or something like that. That's pretty good. Is it any combination? Yeah, it is. It is. That's pretty good. I think this is a fun card. It could be one I could see myself testing. Obviously, it does get better if you're doing things like Luminarch Aspirant, but I don't know what that deck looks like. I don't think this is a that's when something can build in Cube. But I think that in Commander there isn't that repetitive way of putting counters on stuff, so it is going to be more of a spell space thing. But if there is ways of moving counters onto it, then I think Vivi or Ornithia could be a very interesting commander. I like that one. It's cool. All right, let's move on. We have the Greenland next. Zanarkand, Ancient Metropolis, 4 green, enters tapped. It is a land town, and its adventure is 6 mana. Create a 1/1 colorless hero creature token. Put a +1 counter on it for each land you control. So again, this is following these all follow this pattern of, this is what we do early. We play the land early. Later in the game, we make something to win the game, and then we play the land as our land drop. This is solid. With these, I was a friend was talking about like this in like Amulet Titan or something like that, where you can tutor this up, then bounce it back to your hand. Like you tutor it up with a Primeval Titan, put it into play, bounce it back to your hand, then you get this, then you can play it again and bounce it back and that kind of stuff. And there's probably some cool stuff you can do with that in Commander, like build a little engine around this kind of stuff. But my guys, like Modern's powerful. This seems a little slow. Like maybe Pioneer, maybe, I don't know, but. We are not talking about Standard and Pioneer today because I do not play those formats. But again, for Commander, these are just going to be staples. Like we are past the point now where, but basically there are so many cards that could be considered staples. Basically, in a Prime deck, if you're mono green, if you're monocolored, I think you automatically now run these if you're building the most optimal deck. I think it's more likely, like kind of like MDFCs with like when I'm building those decks. I know they should go in, but if I only have like 2 of a certain card, I'm not going to buy 1 for each deck because that's kind of boring. But yeah, optimally, I think these go in any monocolored command decks going forward. I don't think these get into cubes. Maybe like a more budget environment potentially. What's actually interesting about this is Hero. We know Hero is going to be in Spider-Man and all the Marvel stuff. I think we know Spider-Man is a hero. Come on, Spider-Man, Spider-Boy. So, yeah, all of the Marvel cards have been heroes. So we're expecting to see heroes later on in the year. So this card isn't really a hero rewards card, but look out for them in this set because they will be playing into Standard later on when we have a bunch of stuff in there. All right, we've got about a third way down this page, and we have a lot of cards to get through. I'm going to pick out the ones that I know I want to talk about and I know are cool, but we will come back to some of these later on. Should we cherry pick or should we just go through them? You're a flip card. You got to be good. All right. Oh, this one is cool. I do like this one. Terra Magical Adept is 1 and a Gruul for a 4/2 legendary creature, human wizard warrior. When it enters, we mill 5 cards. Put up to 1 enchantment card milled this way into your hand. It has Trance, 4 red and a green. Exile Terra, then return it to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control. Activate only as a sorcery. So, front side, bit of value. Fine, we're not overly hyped by this, but I think it's this is fine. Mill 5 cards, get enchantment back. Among them, because it has to be one that you've milled, if you're building this in Commander, you're going to be a very enchantment-heavy deck. That means your ramp is also going to be things like Wild Growths, enchantments that go on This is your ramp, by the way, if you're building this in Commander. So you want as many hits as possible. What does it flip into? A legendary enchantment creature, Saga Wizard. Chapters 1, 2, and 3. So you will get the first chapter as soon as this flips over, I believe. Because it is exile then return. That is a good thing to point out. So if there are any auras attached to this, you will lose them, which is interesting. So I think this is going to be another summon creature type deck. But let's get reading because this one is quite vibey. Chapters 1, 2, and 3. Create a token that's a copy of target non-legendary enchantment you control. It gains haste. If it's a saga, put up to 3 lore counters on it. Sacrifice it at the beginning of your next end step. Chapter 4. Add Wooburg, double Wooburg, Progenitor's Mana, and exile Espatera. Then return it to the battlefield face up. So you can just keep flipping this. Actually, it won't have haste. So if you have a way of giving this haste, you can just flip it and then keep going around. That's kind of vibey. I do like that. I would assume that the 6/6 part still counts for commander damage. This is a very weird card. But this is similar in the vein to Yuna, where in theory we're wanting to do cool things, cheating enchantments into play. This is also a Wooburg commander because of this bit of text here. Yeah, this is cool. I have no idea what Final Fantasy. This is from Final Fantasy 11. This is kind of what. So my thoughts going into this set is that, well, firstly, don't spend £100 on this card. Don't do that. But this was kind of my thoughts going into the set. I know very little about Final Fantasy, and I am not. Like, it being a Final Fantasy set doesn't make me more hyped for it. That's just because I'm a casual Final Fantasy fan. But I'm as I said at every point, I'm a Magic fan. So when there's cool cards like this, like that do cool and interesting things, like this is cool, I can get excited by it. So this one, I think, is vibey. I'm here for it. Let's keep going through. We have no time for commons and uncommons today. Let's actually talk about this one, because Meld is back. So we need to talk about. So these two, Meld. Oh, good. Oh, Meld is such a sick mechanic. I hope there's more of this in this set. So, Fang Fearless Lassie is 2 in a black. For 2/3, whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. This ability triggers only once each turn. Leave your graveyard, you say. So, Insidious Roots deck is getting more bits. Where's Insidious Roots? The deck that cares about things leaving your graveyard. This is a vibe. This could be a Treat Yourself card for my Treat Yourself cube. Whenever one more cards leave your graveyard, you draw a card and lose 1 life. So a nice little engine to go along with your Dredge stuff leaving your graveyard. Oh, this with Dredge is really good. Okay, I'm on board with this. This goes with Vanille Chithel, let's say. 3 in a green, legendary creature, human cleric. When it enters, mill 2 cards, then return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. At the beginning of your first. So let's read that again. Mill 2 cards, then return a permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. So this is a nice little bit of recursion, and both of these are fine in the self-millie deck. They go together because this will trigger this part, so you're getting 2 cards back, or 1 card from your deck, 1 card from your library. That's pretty good. At the beginning of your first main phase, if you own both parts, this one and this one, pay 5 mana. If you do, exile them, then meld them into Ragnarok Divine Deliverance. This is a 7/6 Vigilance, Menace, Trample, Reach, Haste. When it dies, destroy target permanent and return target non-legendary permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. I am so glad Meld is back. I want so much of this in this set. Damn it. That is how they get me excited for this. By putting Meld in it. Meld is always sick. Like, my main complaint with Meld is there isn't more of it. Like, how much Meld do we actually have? It never felt like enough. I remember this from what was it? Eldritch Moon? It was sick. Getting to do this in Limited is phenomenal. So currently this is the only one spoiled. I hope there's more. Because there's a bunch of flip cards in this set. Yeah, because there's a bunch of flip cards in this set, it means there's more room on like sheets to print this. Generally, they don't tend to just print one flip card in a set anymore, because it's a bit of a pain from a printing point of view. But because there's a bunch of flip cards in this set, there's rooms on back sides to print these kind of cards. So I like this. This is, hopefully there is a common, uncommon, rare, and mythic version of this, because this is a cool card. I think Fang Fearless at the Sea could see play by itself, because it goes like the Tevil deck that we saw previously. This one. Like this deck, which cares about things leaving your graveyard. Fang goes in that deck, and if you're running Fang, you might as well run Vanille so you can meld some things. Melding, like the big cards. Melding is always sick. Okay. They're pulling me in. They're getting me to care about this set. Damn it. I was going to be so big and stoic. Alright, let's look at... let's just cherry pick now. In the chat, if there's any cards specifically you want us to talk about, do shout out. Also, let us know what you like from the set. Are you a Final Fantasy fan? Are you hyped for this? Traveling Chocobo. So I do know that Chocobos are the things that you kind of collect between games. But traveling, or the things you're collecting in games, I believe. Traveling Chocobo, that could be completely wrong, is 2 and a green for a 3/2 creature bird. You may look at the top card of your library anytime. You may play lands and cast bird spells on the top of your library. If a land or bird you control entering the battlefield causes a triggered ability of a permanent you control to trigger, that ability triggers an additional time. So, there's one card that I want to play this with in Cube. In like Commander and such, just having another way of playing lands from the top of your library, just an easier to cast, what's it called? Do I have it in my cube? Yeah, an easier to cast Course of Crufix. Pretty solid, we like that. Also, the body is not better, but it's more aggressive. It doesn't have flying. I'm assuming there's a thematic reason for that. But this doubling up all your landfall stuff is very cool. There's 2 cards I want to shout out, actually, that I think, if they had this in mind when they printed these cards, they are mad people for ever developing this. Like, if you thought Nadu was bad or was strong beforehand, Nadu is a bird. Imagine doubling up all of your Nadu triggers with this. So that's already incredibly messed up. But also, where is it? Springheart Nantuko is a landfall trigger. Like, that is insane. Like, Traveling Chocobo in the Nadu deck. I know it's been banned from Modern, but it's not been banned from Cube. Traveling Chocobo might get into my cube, get into my quite high power leveled cube, effectively replacing it can replace this Course of Crufix, just because it's as a body it does a similar effect. But the fact that it does a bunch of work with Nadu and Springheart Nantuko is kind of wild. Also makes Bristly Bill better. Also makes Mosspawn Hydra better. Like, I think in Cube... Oh, Cubby Wubby gets better. We love all this. I think this is going to be really good, actually. There's just enough that... Like, this part here is just already... Like, this part here on a 3-mana body is something that we already run in Cube. This is fine. This is good. But just this doubling up all of our landfall stuff, which is becoming more of a thing in Cube. Like, again, in Cube, we can run a bunch of cards that are banned in Commander. Like Nadu, like Fast Bond. The life actually might be an issue because you can strip mine infinitely with Course of Crufix because you gain the life back. But the ability to overlap with other decks, I think, might be very cool. So, I think Traveling Chocobo might be one of the cards I'm most excited by for Q specifically. Very cool. We love that. All right. What should we keep going? What should we look at next? This is another green card that I've heard people being quite hyped about. Tifa Lockhart, 1 and a green. Trample, 1/2, Legendary Creature, Human Monk. Landfall, whenever land you control enters double its power until end of turn. So, base level, this is a 2-mana 2/2 when it attacks, if you've played a land. Obviously, if we have our Chocobo friend out, it gets bigger. And obviously, if we can buff up its power, either with counters or with equipment, then it can be quite scary. It also stacks, so if we play a fetch land, it'll double and double. There could be some very fun, like, one-shotting people with this. Like this, bunch of landfall stuff, bunch of ways of playing a bunch of land a turn, ways to return lands to your hand, that kind of stuff. And Berserk, or ways of going at trample. This could be, like, quite a nice little mono-green Voltron commander. I think this one's fun. I don't think you run it outside of it being your commander, just because the landfall... Like, this one could be one more for, like, standard, I guess, but it seems fun. Nice little card. I've heard people talking about it. Right, so we do have the commander stuff mixed in here as well. I think we have so much time to talk about all of this, like, over the next coming weeks. I'm going to pick out the ones that I know people want to talk about. So let's touch on fire magic, because this is a new mechanic. Fire magic, single red, instant with tiered. So choose one additional cost. So this is effectively kicker. Effectively, this is kicker. You can kick it. You can tier it for a 0. It deals 1 damage to each creature. So a single red deal 1 damage to each creature. 2 in a red, fire magic deals 2 damage to each creature. Or 5 in a red, it deals 3 damage to each creature. So these kind of pyroclasm effects, like if we just want to run pyroclasm, we can just run a pyroclasm. So two mana for 2 damage to each creature is kind of the standard rate. So this is 1 more, but for an instant. I think there is an instant pyroclasm that's printed recently, actually. But effectively, we spend 1 more mana to get it to be an instant, but we have the flexibility as well. This is a pretty solid card. Potentially testable in cube. It is peasant playable. So in peasant cubes, I think this could be pretty solid, just because you don't have as many board wipes in there. But just in formats where like so many commander decks could run this and just be a single mana, just wipe a board of tokens. Pretty solid card, but it's the first time we're seeing tiered. It is effectively kicker. It's ticker with extra options, basically. But it's cool, first time seeing that. Let's talk about Sepharoth. This is a vibe. We're kind of here for this. Sepharoth, Fabled Soldier. I don't know why it's capital, but we love that for it. 2 in a black, 3/3, legendary creature, human, avatar, soldier. Whenever Sepharoth enters or attacks, you may sacrifice another creature. If you do, draw a card. Whenever another creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. This is the 4th time this ability has resolved this turn. Transform Sepharoth. So, this here is just Blood Artist, basically. That is very good. Especially one-on-one. This is more of a one-on-one card, but don't worry, we'll get to parts that make it good for Commander. Yeah, this just does a little bit of everything. This is kind of like the modern design for legendary creatures. They do everything. Let's read the flip part before we actually talk about it in more detail. So if 4 creatures have died in a turn, we transform it into Sepharoth, One-Winged Angel. Legendary creature, Angel Nightmare Avatar. It is a 5/5 with flying with Supernova. As this creature transforms into Sepharoth, One-Winged Angel, you get an emblem with whenever a creature dies, target opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So the permanent emblem is very good because, yeah, they can't get rid of that. Whenever Sepharoth attacks, you may sacrifice any number of creatures. If you do, draw that many cards. So, do you like aristocrats? I give you Aristocrat Commander. If you have ways of, like in Commander, if you have ways of flickering this, so if you're mono black, there's the like undying effects. So effects that when it dies, bring it back to the battlefield. Undying Evil is an example of this, but Undying Malice is another one. Cards that until end of turn, target creature gains when this creature dies, return to the battle, tapped on your control. If you can do that with this, then this is very cool, because you can get multiple emblems. Also, it's only 3 mana, so you could just get multiple emblems if this just dies and goes back to the command zone. That's really good. Multiple emblems really stacks. That's kind of terrifying. But just, the fun half of this is it's a 3 mana Blood Artist. that when it attacks, gives you card advantage. There's also a sack. It's a Blood Artist that's also a sack outlet that also transforms into a 5/5 that draws you more cards. This is kind of just incredibly good, actually. Don't pre-order it for $150. That's insane. Sepharoth is one I think will be very cool in Commander, but I think, like most cubes, even like the Mitgo Vintage Cube has like sacrificey stuff. Like it's not full-on aristocrats in the Mitgo Vintage Cube, but it is like you can still win games with a Mayhem Devil. There's still things that poop out a bunch of tokens. Like, well, maybe not Pack Rat, but stuff that there's plenty of stuff in these formats that just make a bunch of tokens. Like Royal Warden, for example. But Sepharoth just seems I'm here for Sepharoth. So this seems like a really cool card. Yeah, it just seems very, very good. Yeah, Commander, obviously aristocratic, but I think in other formats, I'm actually quite excited to see what this can do in Cube. I think this is going to be pretty strong. Let's keep going. There's a bunch of other cool ones. So here is our biggest summon, I think. This is the mythic one. Summon Bahamut. 9 generic mana, enchantment creature, Saga Dragon. It is a 9/9. Chapters 1 and 2, destroy up to 1 target non-land permanent. Chapters 3, draw 2 cards. Chapters 4, Mega Flare. This creature deals damage equal to the total mana value of other permanents you control to each opponent. So, this one I think might actually be good enough to just be a full-up reanimator target in Cube. In Commander, this is what we want to be bringing back with things like Yuna. We want to be milling it with a Town Greeter and then reanimating it so we get this 9/9 into play. Also, this being on 4 chapters means that we get 2 attacks with it. It comes in on 1, we destroy something. On turn 2, on turn 2 of this being in play, we destroy something else, their other blocker. Then we can attack with it. Then we draw 2 cards and we can attack again. And then at this point, this should in theory kill them. The hope is anyway. This actually seems really strong. This could be a very good reanimator target. It's also a 9/9 flyer, so it does the thing of like, it can just kill your opponent straight away. Like, I'm literally running Ashen Rider as a reanimator target in my cube. This is better, shockingly, than Ashen Rider. This mythic from 2025 is better than a mythic from Theros. But yeah, this actually seems like a really strong card. Like, I think this isn't like Grizzlebrand. How is it? Like, Archon of Cruelty might be the best reanimation target. It does similar things. Like, the body isn't as big. When it enters or attacks, if you sacrifice a creature or planeswalker of their choice, discard a card, they lose 3 life. Like, this is comparable. Like, the fact that I'm having this conversation of, like, I think Archon is still better. But you can reanimate this because it's an enchantment creature. I think this is good. I think Summon Behemoth might... It's going to be in echelons of top-tier reanimation targets. Like, I don't think it's... my gut is Atraxa, Grizzlebrand, and Archon of Cruelty are above it. But it's in that conversation, because you remove 2 things from them, then it does everything you want from... Like, it might be a bit slow, because in theory, with the other ones, after a couple of hits, they're dead. But this is a 9/9. They can only take 2 hits off this, and realistically, they're dead. I think this is a great card, actually. I'm very... Yeah, the fact I'm having this conversation of... It's not as good as Archon, I don't think, but it's up there, means that this is going to be a strong and good Magic card. So we're very hyped for that. Alright, let's pick out some other cards we want. We have about 15 minutes left before we need to start the day job. Let's see what else is good. Alright, so I know Final Fantasy fans are excited by this. Sid Timeless Artificer. 2 white and a blue for a 4/4 legendary creature human artificer. Artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. A deck can have any number of cards named Sid Timeless Artificer, and it has cycling for an Azorius. So, importantly with this, they have printed a version of this for... so Sid... from speaking with a friend who knows a lot more about Final Fantasy, there is a version of Sid in every Final Fantasy game from like 3 onwards, I think. And basically, they have put all of them in this set. So these will be like Nazgul, I'm guessing, in terms of collecting them all will be a bit of a ball ache, and they're probably not going to be that high to open, but someone in your playgroup will build the Sid Timeless Artificer deck. Maybe it's the commander, maybe just have them all in the deck. What the correct number is, I don't know. One of each artwork is probably the starting point. Or maybe the full art one is the commander, and then these are all in the deck. This seems very strong. Or, no. It's filling your deck with 4 mana creatures might not be all the strongest, but I think it is a vibe. Like, this could be... Oddly, I kind of want this in like a... Esper deck. I think we pick an Esper commander and then have all these in, because we having access to black is going to be quite strong for artifact synergies as well. This is also another card that cares about heroes, so again, this will go up when it's teamed up with Spider-Man, I guess. This was a very cool card. I wanted to shout this out because, again, they're doing the Nazgul thing, and like, this is one that I can appreciate for Final Fantasy fans. It's like, oh, I know all this. This is cool. If you played a Final Fantasy game, you probably met a Sid. All right, let's talk about Cloud. Cloud Midgar Mercenary is a double white for legendary creature, human soldier, mercenary. When Cloud enters, search your library for an equipment card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. As long as Cloud is equipped, if an ability of a Cloud or an equipment attached to it triggers, this ability triggers an additional time. So I don't think people are going to be playing this as their commander. There are other Clouds in this set, which are probably going to be the commander ones. But this in 1-on-1 formats, I think, is pretty solid. Like, being honest, it's not as good as Stoneforge Mystic, but few Enchantment Matters, but few Equipment Matters cards are. I know where I want to play this. It's in my SpongeBob SquarePants deck, obviously, which is all Universes Beyond cards, because this does go and tutor up Excalibur? That's not how do you spell Excalibur? What are we doing? I kind of want to equip Excalibur with this. Like, oh, I want Cloud to tutor up Excalibur so I can put Excalibur on SpongeBob SquarePants. That is a sentence that you all now have to deal with now that Universes Beyond is a thing. But in general, this is going to be pretty solid. Any kind of double effects are good. I don't actually... What is the best thing this can do? Just look at equipments. So, like, doubling up your Jitte? That sounds very Canadian Highlander-y, if I'm honest with you. Skull Clamp. As long as Cloud is equipped. Okay. So, we probably don't want a Skull Clamp Cloud. What's good? Sword of the Animist, getting 2 lands. That's pretty good. Helm of the Host, getting even more of that. That's pretty good. Ooh, actually, swords. We like that. Reaver Cleaver, if you can splash that, like Boris equipment deck that exists. Hammer of Nazan, making... No, there's another one that doubles. Okay, there is plenty of stuff. There's some cool stuff in here. You're looking for ETB effects. You're looking for deal damage effects. Yeah, doubling up any sort of X and X is going to be pretty good. With Sword of Fire and Ice, you deal 4 damage to a target and draw 2 cards. Ooh, I do like drawing cards. Power Fist. Yeah, there's a lot here. Okay, Cloud is very cool. Obviously, if you're building this in Commander, it's going to be Voltron. But I think Cloud is going to go in a bunch of decks. There's a bunch of Equipment Matters commanders already out there. I think Cloud goes into those. It's in the right colours for it. The double white is a ball ache to cast in my SpongeBob SquarePants deck because it's Wooburg. And the mana base is dreadful because it's also only Universes Beyond cards. Hopefully, they print some better lands in Final Fantasy Universes Beyond so I can play them in my SpongeBob deck. For my SpongeBob deck, I want 1 card from each Universes Beyond. I think Cloud might be the one for this one. Alright, let's have a quick look through. We have about 10 more minutes. There's a bunch of... That's the thing. There's a bunch of cards. Alright. I think this one is iconic. Eith Gainesborough. 2 and a white, a legendary creature, human cleric with lifelink. Whenever you gain life, put +1 counter on Eith Gainesborough, and when it dies, put X+1 counters on each legendary creature you control, where X is the number of counters on it. So this is another card I was considering for my SpongeBob deck. But this kind of goes into the legendary Legends Matters deck. Like, what's the good boy? What's the really good boy? Yoshimaru? Yeah, if you're building this, if you had this kind of deck, like Legends Matters, if you've considered running Yoshimaru in a deck, then I think you run Eith Gainesborough. Also, just this part here, actually as well, is just another Ajani's Pridemate, and it having lifelink as well. Actually, this is pretty solid. So yeah, so it either goes in the Legends deck or it goes in the life gaining decks as another Ajani Pridemate that also can gain you life because it has lifelink. Pretty solid. What a good pupper. We love Yoshimaru. If you're wondering where the cat is, she's outside. She's sunning herself. I can see her on the veranda, on the neighbour's fence. Okay, let's talk about Bob. Dark Confident, 1 black, 2/1. At the beginning of your upkeep, reveal the top card of your library and put that card into your hand. You lose life equal to its mana value. Bob is a very good Magic card. When was it first printed? 2005? That can't be right. Can it be right? When was the original Ravnica? Yeah, 2005. Wow. Bob is a very good Magic card. To see it in a standard set again, I think is going to be cool. This will... My gut is this will be a staple. This feels like more one for Pioneer, which I'm kind of here for. I know plenty of Magic players. I have plenty of friends who just want Modern to be Modern from like 10 years ago. And basically Pioneer is becoming that. The power level is like, effectively, you have Liliana the Veil, you have Dark Confidence, all you need is like Lightning Bolt, and actually we have Llanowar, don't we? You're pretty close to having the Jund deck from Modern from about a decade ago being legal in Pioneer. This will be a very strong card in Standard. The thing with Bob is that it does get it's stronger in formats where you have a better quality of cards because, like, there's not like for example, Lightning Bolt. I don't think is legal in Pioneer, but Lightning Strike is. So if you want that effect, you have to go up the mana value. So it won't be as strong as it is in Modern, just because the card pool you're dealing with means that you have to have more. You have to run more expensive cards. So the life loss is more of a thing. If you can build your deck around your curve stops at 3 with Liliana the Veil and stuff like that, just grinding value, then Dark Confident is extremely good. My gut is that it's still going to be very strong, but just because the mana value of stuff is going higher, it's not going to be. Bob will still be a good card. Also, the fact that it's going to be nice and cheap is great. Play Bob, very strong Magic card. Alright, what else do we want to touch on? This Absolute unit here. Absolute Virtue, 6 and a Azorius. 8/8 Legendary Creature Avatar Warrior. It can't be countered. It has flying, and you have protection from each of your opponents. This is a cool card. Potentially a decent cheat target. Like, you're not hard casting this. Seems like one in Limited, anyway. Like, pre-release, this is the one you want to open. You win this, you win your draft pod, or you win your sealed pod. Gonna be pretty good. Yeah, decent reanimate. I was thinking of talking about this as a very good reanimated target until they spoiled the other one, the summon card. But this card seems cool. We like it. A Realm Reborn is another cool one. 6 mana, enchantment. Other permanents you control have tap, add one mana of any cut. So this in any kind of... This is a very commander card, shockingly, because it's a 6 mana ramp spell. If you're in tokens, this seems very cool. Or just like it... Not necessarily creature tokens, just a deck that's just making game objects. Like... is it Ionis, for example? Is it Ionis? Or is that the website where you can... Or Lonis. Like, stuff like this, where, like, you're just pooping out, clue tokens. Anything like that, if your deck is making a bunch of tokens, this seems really good. You're not playing this as a 6-mana, my lands tap for any color. You are playing this in like the biggest ramp deck possible, where you want to win with a Genesis Wave. Where you cast a Genesis Wave for the cost of your deck. Like if you have 60 cards in your deck, or 70 cards left in your deck, you are trying to cast a 70-mana Genesis Wave, and that's how you're winning. Do you like ramp? Because we have some ramp for you. Very cool card. I think these were... So, yeah, this is one we built on Friday. Love that for us. Scryfall Random gave us Xenos Yogeva. So, if you want to see how this commander is built, we have a deck take for it already. Secret Rendezvous is a cool one. So, the Chocobo is the commander format. But this is one where there's a bunch of different printings. So there's these 4 printings. It is a reprint from Strixhaven, but I could see players being excited for the different artworks for this. I like it when they do that, like lean into it. That's kind of something they can do in these sets. Right, we have a few minutes. Let's just double check if there's anything else cool. That's the thing. There is a bunch of cool cards in this. I think I've picked out the ones that I really want to talk about, the ones that I think I'll see the biggest splash in formats. What else do we have? I think this card's cool. All right, let's actually... This one I thought was pretty vibey, actually. Clive, Ifrit's Dominant. 4 red, legendary creature, human, noble, warrior. It is a 5/5. When it enters, you may discard your hand, then draw cards equal to your devotion to red. So, interesting that there's devotion in this set. We have a... So we've seen, like... Where is it? This card here is a Wooburg card, but there's also devotion. So the draft format might... If there's monocolored stuff in the draft format, which there could be because... what do you call it? Cloud is double white. So maybe devotion we're going to be seeing a bit more. Like, there was a very mana pip intensive black card. So maybe devotion might be more of a thing in this set. We'll see as time goes on. It has 4 red, tap, exile Clive, then return to the battlefield, transformed under its owner's control, activate owner's sorcery. It transforms into Ifrit, Warden of Inferno. It is a 9/9 legendary creature, enchantment Saga Demon. Chapter 1, it fights up to one creature. It fights up to one other target creature. 2 and 3, add 4 red. If Ifrit has 3 or more law counters on exile, then return to the battlefield face up. So this is a cool one. The fact that actually, what's cool about this? Now I'm reading it is that because this is the exile clause rather than the transform clause. When this flips back, you do this again. This is a really cool little engine, actually. Yeah, I quite like it is a very mono red deck because it really you really want to. Is it though? Like, just if you're hellbent, discard your hand, draw 2 cards, and then you just keep going back and forth. So like the fact that you make the 4 mana. So it is in your main phase. This all happens. After your draw step, add a law counter. So yeah, you're in your main phase, so you can use this mana. You can then just... no, because you can't use this mana to put into this because it's exiled and come back. So it's a new permanent, so it will... Unless you can give it haste, you can't put the mana into it. But if you have if you have an anger in your graveyard, or if you have a way of giving this thing haste, you can do the cool thing of effectively then just 2 extra mana, just keep flipping it round and round. That's pretty good. I love a mono red commander deck just because you know what you're doing. Games are ending. Beat some people in the face with a 9/9. I think this is pretty cool. Yeah, if you can give this haste, you can just keep going round, flipping. We like that. That's pretty cool. All right, we didn't get through all of them. Do let me know in the comments if there's any cards specifically from the spoilers we've already got you want us to talk about tomorrow. Because we are in spoiler season. We want to talk about as many cool cards as possible, but there's so many to get through. They've got me. The more I'm looking at this set, the more I am I'm here for bits of it. Yeah, again, I'm always excited for cool Magic cards. Even if I'm not as hyped on the flavor, I can get excited for some cool stuff. And Traveling Chocobo, baby. Let's make Nardu, but let's bring back Nardu. That's what Magic needed in 2025. A way to make Nardu better. But I'm here for it. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today. Thank you all very much for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll be back tomorrow, probably with more spoilers. If they spoil a bunch today, there's a bunch we didn't get to, so we can always do them as well. But also, I am looking. I do want to know which commanders from the set people want me to build, because we will be doing them on the streams. Maybe we'll do some full videos on them. I look at the comments, I take your feedback, all much appreciated. Put your comments down there, let me know what you want to build from the set. But that's going to do it for today. We'll catch you all tomorrow. We'll see you all soon. Take care. Goodbye.